Hey, John Hickok here. I want to show you guys something that I'm super proud of. It's been hanging on my wall for about a year and a half now, something like that. I'll bring it up here for you. And that is our YouTube play button, our gold play button that we got from YouTube for surpassing 1 million subscribers. So it's pretty neat, pretty special thing to have. Like I said, it came in about a year and a half ago, something like that. And Dad said, hey, why don't you just put it in your house, so of course I did. Really happy to have it, and it's just a neat thing to see hanging up on your wall. Even though there are a lot of YouTube channels now that have 1 million subscribers, they're probably like, I don't know, maybe 3,000 or 4,000, something like that. But it's still really neat. It's a neat award, and a lot of people have lost a lot of faith in YouTube. People have even suggested that I should shoot the award or whatever, that we should shoot it because of YouTube screwing us over, all kinds of things like that. I'll be honest, I have as much a reason to be angry at YouTube as a lot of people. I won't say anybody. There's some people who have been very screwed over by YouTube, but there's a lot of people. If YouTube had never changed, let's just say, I'll just put it this way, YouTube has cost me a lot of money and a lot of headache. A lot of it, okay, like a ton. But none of that would have even been possible if I hadn't been in a position where really good things were happening to me, if YouTube never existed. If that makes sense at all. I don't know if it does or not. But basically, I guess what I'm trying to say is the good things that YouTube has done in my life have far exceeded any of the bad things. I still have faith in YouTube. I still believe in YouTube. I know that maybe there are certain people in the higher up ranks at YouTube, at the owner level, management level, or the organizations that own YouTube, like Google, that there are some forces that maybe are against the kinds of things that I'm doing, that my dad and I are doing, or that other like-minded individuals are doing. But I think YouTube is bigger than that, if that makes any sense. It's kind of like I look at YouTube in a similar way that I look at the government, right? There's things in the government that I know that I don't like. There's people in the government involved in making decisions that I know that I don't like. There's a lot of themes and practices that I just can't in good conscience lend, what's the right way to put that I don't want to be a part of, basically, is what I'm trying to say. But I still believe in the country as a whole and see it as better than the alternative, which would be living in a different country. So I deal with it, and I see it as a great thing that has a lot of work to be done, right? Now, of course, in the government, there's avenues to where we can affect changes and things a lot easier than we can in a private corporation like Google or YouTube. But that being said, I still have faith that at the end of the day, YouTube will do the right thing, and I don't think that YouTube wants to eliminate gun content. I think that YouTube is concerned about making other parties happy, and some of those parties may be anti-gun or whatever. But I don't think that YouTube wants to take it so far to limit content like guns. YouTube has eliminated certain types of content, but it's kind of like general offensive stuff, right? Like nudity, and like really intense, like hate speech, and there are certain things like that YouTube has actually tried to eliminate from the site. But as far as things like guns, I mean, there's really no evidence that YouTube has ever truly tried to eliminate gun content on YouTube. There's monetization issues with gun content, and stuff like that. But they have a business to run. They're trying to appease advertisers. As frustrating as it is, because guns are legal. We're just doing videos on things that are legal, and we're being treated like outlaws. It's frustrating, but I don't blame YouTube as a whole for that. YouTube has been amazing for guns, really, when you think about it. YouTube has given a platform for people to showcase the hobby and the responsible use of firearms to the entire world. It wasn't possible really before. I mean, there was other video sites, websites out there, but nothing on the scale of what YouTube is. Nothing like it. And it's just unprecedented. I mean, if it hadn't been for YouTube, we might have there might have been an assault weapons ban reinstated. If you guys don't remember, after the Sandy Hook shooting, it was a pretty dark time. Other than the obvious tragedy for gun owners, it was a very, very dark time, and our rights were wobbling. And without the exposure that YouTube offered to the Second Amendment side of things, I don't know. We might not have survived that one. So I think YouTube is huge and important for freedom of speech and all these kinds of things. I think it's important to see the monetization aspect of it, while it's very frustrating, as separate from the freedom of speech issue. Now, if YouTube starts actually not letting people upload gun content on YouTube, then we'll have a different discussion. But for now, I still have a lot of faith in YouTube. I don't think YouTube is going anywhere. I think it's the place to be for gun content still. I still think it's great. There's the YouTube program for making money on YouTube. It sucks, I mean, to say the least. It was great at one time. Those days are over, unfortunately, but there's other ways to make money on YouTube, and people just need to learn how to take advantage of those and just appreciate the audience that is present on YouTube that you're not going to find anywhere else, and that's huge. That's important. So I still have faith in YouTube. I just kind of wanted to, bring this out and show it to you guys, and I'm not afraid to be proud of this. I'm proud of this thing. I'm proud of what I've done on YouTube. I'm proud of what Dad has done on YouTube and what we've done together on YouTube. It's just it blows my mind how much my life has changed since all this stuff that we've been doing on YouTube. I mean, it's just crazy. I never expected to be where I am in my life. I never expected just some little idea. I mean, it was just like, not to rehash this story, you guys have heard it a million times, but just to emphasize how crazy it is to me. I'm in college and not doing well, not doing well at all, really. Basically, when I was in college the first time, I was at a point where I was on YouTube to distract myself from how just poorly I was doing, because I've never been a great student, never been a person who can really sit and focus in a class. I can do okay for a while, but eventually, I just, I lose interest. It's just hard for me to sit in a desk, and learn stuff and study things that I don't want to learn about. It's hard for everybody, but I just never had the discipline to do it for a long enough period of time. But anyways, so YouTube was like an escape for me at the time. That's what it was. This is the early days. This is like 2008, I guess it would have been, and 2007, 2008. It was an escape, and it was my first time being really truly away from home at college, and grew up on a shooting range. So naturally, I went to videos of people shooting guns. There weren't really like gun. I mean, there was videos of guns. There were gun videos, I guess, but there weren't really like gun reviews or anything on YouTube at that time, or at least that I was aware of. I think Nothing Fancy at that time had some stuff like that. I hadn't really discovered that yet. Didn't discover him until later, after we kind of really were getting rolling and everything. And I think that was from people commenting about him on our videos that I discovered him. But it was about an escape from my situation. I was headed straight into the rocks. I was on a crash course, and I knew it, but I didn't want to admit it. And I was escaping into YouTube basically, while my life just went, downhill. And from that came, the idea of, I was on the phone with my dad all the time. We always had a great relationship, and from that, I don't know, bad situation, came the idea to start the YouTube channel. And we talked on the phone all the time, and it just came up one day, and I was like, "Hey, Dad, we ought to." I'm seeing all these people shooting guns on YouTube. You have lots of guns and a place to shoot. You ought to do that, And we would talk about it a lot, and I would tell him about the stuff I was seeing on YouTube, and eventually made some videos, and those are what I call the yellow shirt videos. If you go and look at the very earliest videos, the ones where he's wearing that kind of yellowish shirt, those were the first videos. He made those while I was still away at college, and he called me up and was like, "Hey, I made some of these videos like we talked about," and we were watching them, and I remember thinking that he talked too much, which is ridiculous because they were like 2 minutes long, and now our videos are like 20 or 30 minutes long. But I remember thinking, this is cool. I remember thinking, even though I thought that he talked too much at the time, I remember thinking, like, this is so much better than anything I've seen so far on here, So even then, I sort of felt like, we were onto something, or he was onto something. I didn't really like, how it is. At that time, I didn't really, I wasn't like, oh, I got to be a part of this or whatever. Just like, I didn't care. I mean, I was just like, hey, why don't you do this? This seems like a good idea. Something to talk about, and, just something interesting, take my mind off of school and all that. And he was doing it, and I started to get more and more interested in it. And then came home, moved home, dropped out of college eventually. I think it was like May of 2008, I believe it was. Dropped out, moved home, had no plans really. I was screwed, pretty much, and at least that's how I felt. And moved home, had no, didn't have much ambition. I was I had all these. I thought I had everything figured out in life, and it was just like done, And I didn't have a lot of ambition at the time. I was kind of beat down, and so I just helped Dad with those videos. It was something to do. And it was something I cared about and knew about, because I had watched a lot of YouTube, videos of people shooting guns and things like that, and it had some insight into it and everything, and and so we did that. We made videos, and then, over time, I sort of, got back in the swing of things. I went back to college for a little bit, which again didn't work out. It was a local college, but I was like working and stuff, again, and I was kind of getting back in the swing of things gradually, but all the while, we were doing these YouTube videos, and it was mostly just for fun, a way to pass the time, and again, a way for me to escape the reality of my situation. I didn't have a whole lot of skills, and probably wasn't going to do much in life, at least that made very much money at all. I was working some security jobs and, some different things like that. It's pretty, low kind of work, for the most part. And it just kept plugging away at it, just kept doing it. It was mostly to pass the time. But then at one point, there was a certain time where it really felt important. Like, it's like something that people cared about and really wanted and almost needed, So then we sort of collectively felt this responsibility to maintain it and to keep it going and to nurture it, and we did, and from then on, it really became this other thing that led to where we are now, and it's crazy, and there's so many things that could have happened that would have prevented it from happening, and it's like all these different things just happened to line up, just perfectly, and it's crazy. It's something I'm super proud of. I never expected to accomplish something like this, ever in my life. So I'm humbled by it, and just I don't know. Again, I owe almost everything that I have in life to YouTube. So it's really hard for me to hate them, despite some of the issues that they have created. Now if they really are running away gun channels, running us off for real, my opinion will change of them. But for now, I hope that gives you a little bit of insight into why I'm a little more hesitant than some people to just completely write off YouTube and to hate them. I'm thankful to them. If something like YouTube hadn't come around when it did, it wouldn't be sitting here in my own house. I'd probably be living in some small apartment somewhere, working some crappy job that I hated. But I get to work the job of my dreams with my dad, and we get to hang out all the time, and we have a great relationship. Always have, and now we get to hang out and work together. I mean, it's ridiculous. It doesn't even make sense, but it's perfect at the same time. It's insane. I still can't wrap my head around it when I really stop and think about it, which I don't often. It's kind of that's the thing about life. It's easy to just kind of you go through the motions and you make decisions and you do what you got to do, but sometimes you got to stop and really think about how you got to this point, and what decisions that you made were right or were wrong, or what things do you need to be doing that you're not doing, and really be mindful of your situation and where you're at. It opens up things that you hadn't thought about before, maybe, or hadn't thought about in a long time, and it's hard not to be in awe of it all. So anyways, that was way more of a rant diatribe that I meant to get into, but yeah, so take that for what it is. That's the beauty of this channel, is the thing that I like about it is, so now on the Hickok 45 channel, obviously we have a certain standard we want to uphold. That's where our largest audience is. So we try to stay true to that standard of quality and what you expect from a Hickok 45 video. We venture out some with a few different things like Deep Woods Thoughts or some other things that we might do, but for the most part we stick to Hickok 45 stuff. I think the people who really watch our videos can attest to the fact that we've maintained a high level of consistency throughout all of our years on YouTube. And then the Hickok 45 and Son channel is more about kind of a playground for me. I got the podcast and do the gun videos. I got the Battlefield 1 things. But for the most part, I try to really have some consistency with that channel too, and not do anything too crazy, But I experiment more with that. But on this channel, this is like anything goes. Is kind of, for the most part, is how I view this channel. So like this was going to be a really short video, but I ended up just going on and on and on and on and on and on for however long I went on for, and hey, it is what it is. I'm just going to leave it all in there, and if you guys don't want to watch it, it's okay. But this is the kind of stuff I'm going to do on this channel. If I feel like doing it and I want to do it, you'll see it.